lovelies, this is Megan from Little Hot Tamale, and today we are going to create a mini pizza box. You will need a piece of paper that measures 8 by 12 inches, and try to use a piece of paper that is somewhat thick or a heavier piece of paper, and you're going to score at 3/4, 1 inch and a half, 6 inches and a half, and 7 1/4. And then you're going to rotate your paper and score at 3/4, 5 1/4, 6 inches, 10 1/2, and 11 1/4. And in the description, I'm going to provide a link to my blog with all the measurements and a handy dandy diagram of everything. Okay, so next we're going to take our bone folder and crease all of our lines that we just created. This will make it so much easier when we need to start cutting all of the lines. Okay, so before we start cutting into our paper, it is important to note that the top has 1 row and the bottom has 2 rows. I like to cut all the horizontal lines first and then go back and cut off the excess. So you're going to cut off the 2 mini squares at the top, then the column, then the middle mini square, and then you're going to trim off a little bit off the edges off the inner mini square. Then you're going to skip the next column and go to the bottom part where all the mini squares are and cut off 1 square, and then trim off the edges, and then the 2 bottom mini squares. Then you're just going to repeat this to the other side. Now we are going to assemble the pizza box. So you're going to take the mini square with the trim edges at the bottom and glue it to the inner column. And be patient and take your time because it's important to get everything lined up correctly so that your box isn't wonky when you're done. Next we're going to glue the inner mini squares with the trimmed edges to the inner column again. So we're gluing everything so far to the inner column that is at the bottom. Now once that's in place, we're going to take the tabs or the outer columns and glue it onto the inside, and this will make a really strong foundation for your pizza box. I recommend folding your paper in first before you glue it to make sure it's going to fit correctly, because you might have to trim just a little bit. And I like to fold my edges inside my box because I think it looks more clean. Okay, so we're going to decorate our box now, and I'm using my Taco Tuesday collection, and I'll leave the link to my shop down below if you want to check out my designs. And I'm starting off with white acrylic paint and a little bit of color shine in a pink color. Spreading it on here and there on my box, and dipping my brush in a little bit of the pink color shine too to give it a little bit of shimmer. And I'm using the same color shine and I'm just splattering it here and there on the box too. And of course I'm using a doily, and I feel like a project isn't complete without a doily. And I'm just using my tacky glue and gluing it down. And then we're going to create another layer with another doily. And this one's from Michaels, and they have a whole collection of different colors to choose from. And I like to work with doilies because they're kind of light and they're perfect for layering. Now we're going to make some fun confetti with crepe paper, and I just took my crepe paper, layered a few bright colors that matched my embellishments, and you're just going to create little squares. I like to adhere my confetti with glossy accents, so I'm just going to sprinkle some on, pat it down to make sure everything's kind of adhered correctly, then tap the box to see what I missed and fill in the gaps. Now if you didn't notice, I'm trying to create a focal point on my box, so that's why I layered everything kind of on the corner, and then later on I'll add little bits and pieces on the rest of the box. Okay, this is how I adhere my messy thread. I use terrifically tacky tape or sticky thumb and place that down, and then kind of roll my thread and place it on the sticky tape. Okay, so now I'm using my hot glue gun, and I found this cute skull bead that I had in my stash, and I'm gluing it to the center of my flower. Pretty sure Hobby Lobby sells these, but I actually bought mine off of Etsy. And then a little bit of foam tape behind some of the flowers to build them up. And just taking some more embellishments from the Taco Tuesday collection and just kind of layering them here and there, just where I feel like there's space to put something. And that is actually a handmade flower, the one that's three-dimensional, and I have a tutorial for that, and I'll leave the link down below for you. I also like to include a few gemstones and flat back pearls, and these flat back pearls are from the Dollar Tree. And then on the bottom right hand corner, I wanted to break up that big white space because it's drawing all of your attention to it. So I'm going to start with some fun ribbon, a guitar, a concentric shape, and create a fun embellishment cluster. And I'm using a little bit of mounting tape behind the guitar just to build it up on the pizza box. And this is a really, really old embellishment that I got like 10 years ago, and I stumbled across it in a box. Okay, so on the inside, you don't have to decorate the inside, but I really like doing that. So we're going to start off with a doily again and add a few layers. So I'm using a pocket card from the Taco Tuesday collection as a fun base. Okay, so I'm going to take this time and tell you why we're making a mini pizza box. Okay, because you're probably sitting there thinking, alright, awesome, I just made this box. Now, what am I going to do with it? I like to use mine for a mini memory box. So I decorated the outside, and I'm decorating the inside. I'm going to place pictures and a little notebook with things in it, and maybe some memorabilia from whatever I'm documenting. Or you can use this as a snail mail box to send to your friends. Of course, you'll have to put this in another package when you mail it, but it'd be kind of fun, like for a birthday or something, you can add some extra goodies. I also wanted to mention that I was inspired to create this pizza box by one of the girls, Gina, from the Little Hot Tamale Creative Squad, because she made one of these and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I'll leave all her information down below and check her out because she's an incredible scrapbooker. So back to the decorating. I'm making a fun little pocket. I just took a piece of paper, cut it down just a little bit, backed it with some black paper to make it really pop off the box. And I just glued the edges except for the top part because that's where you're going to load whatever you want to put in your pocket. And then some embellishments. This is a handmade paper rosette, and I have a tutorial for this. Actually, I have a few, and I'll leave a link for one of those if you want to learn how to make one. And then some transparent glitter ribbon, just gluing it down, and I'm going to put a word on top, and it spells love. I really didn't need it, but I couldn't resist. I just wanted a little bit of extra sparkle. And then some gemstones and flat back pearls again. And then on the bottom part of our box, I just added a few more embellishments like a camera and a love tacos. And I'm going to include a tab at the top with a hand-typed phrase or word. And don't forget, you can also decorate the inside flaps of your pizza box. So I'm just spelling out hello. I included a fun envelope to slip into the pocket. And here's some things that you can put in your pizza box. Here's a fun little notebook that I created. It's actually a matchbook notebook, and I will have a tutorial for this, so keep a lookout for that. and some pictures and some tickets. And yeah, so this is how I made my mini pizza box. So if you decide to make some of these, make sure you share them on Instagram with the hashtag #LittleHotTamale because I would love to see what you created. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Toodles!